I'm just here visiting my hometown, and as I'm driving the streets, it's bringing back a lot of memories, including my first love, which inevitably means then my first heartbreak. And I was thinking about how many of my clients, when they experience heartbreak, that pain of losing someone that you truly loved, or something going wrong in the relationship, then they become jaded. And they feel like, well, now I'll never love again. I never want to feel that pain again. And all of this really just comes from pain, like fear of going through that same situation and not knowing how to protect yourself. So then you go to an extreme, like, well, I can't trust any men, or I can't trust anyone, or I'll never love again. That's it for me. I'll be single forever. All of those things, if you notice, are very extreme statements. They're extreme ways of thinking. If I just avoid love altogether, then I avoid pain. It's true. Like, you won't get hurt if you just never open yourself up, because when you loved, you were in such a state of vulnerability. But when you dissect love, there is a way to protect yourself without having to go to such an extreme and decide that you're never going to love again, because why would you want to live life that way? In reality, you don't, and that's why you're going to listen to find out how you can move forward and love again without having to worry that you're just going to live in fear and have to avoid all relationships. So when we break down what love actually is, it was that you were in a state of positivity. You were in optimism about your future with this person. You were in optimism about the individual, about the individual's intentions, their capabilities, and that was shattered. The individual probably did something to let you down, and maybe that was to leave the relationship or to cheat on you or something like that, and they violated your values, and you really valued them. You really idealized them. But the problem is when we get out of it, we don't know how to get out of having to experience that pain again if we want to have a relationship. Because part of us knows that that's actually common, what we went through. And at the time, we must have thought that that could never happen to us. But now as we move forward, we feel like it's all too probable. And so how do we love again, get back to that state of positivity toward the person and optimism about our future without having this fear of getting hurt? So you have to recognize that the problem was not the positivity. The problem is when we go one way in an extreme and we don't allow for the possibility of reality. It's not that you were optimistic about the future, that's the issue. It's just that you had to understand that it was a possibility that was all going to go away, and even a probability. Let me explain. So if you had a child who had let's say you wanted the child to play with this ball, right? But you know that the ball is just rented, meaning you're going to be giving the ball back to its rightful owner. Do you think it will be less heartbreaking to just let the child play with the ball without telling it that it's temporary? Or do you think you would prepare the child for the inevitable heartbreak of understanding that they can only play with the ball for a little while and then we're going to give it back? I think most sensible caregivers would tell the child, have fun, but we're only going to play with it for a little while and then we have to give it back. That's not our ball. Because we wouldn't want to see the child become unduly attached to something that doesn't belong to the child and ultimately the child's going to have to split from. And so rather than having to see that breakdown and that temper tantrum, you let them know ahead of time so they can prepare themselves. So the problem was in that first love relationship, or that last love that you had, you didn't properly prepare yourself for the fact that what you had was rented, what you had was temporary. So let's prepare yourself now. Rule number 1, all relationships virtually are temporary. All relationships are temporary. 99% of them end in some sort of breakup, but even the 1% that lasts until death do you part still end when death does you part. And you don't have any guarantees that you're going to be the one to die first. So you might be the surviving one and still lose this person you love, even though they didn't cheat on you or you didn't break up with them. So that means that every relationship is temporary. Let's lock that in, because just like you prepare a child to eventually lose this ball that they're going to become attached to, you need to prepare yourself to eventually lose your partner. When you go into a relationship, understanding it's temporary, you can still love. To love is to focus on everything that's good about the person and to do everything that's good for them. You can still do that. But don't lose love for yourself, caring for yourself, prioritization of your needs and wants, communication of such. Don't lose that, because you're the only permanent thing in your life, and they are definitely temporary. Keep that in mind. So enjoy it, but understand, sadly but true, everything right now in this lifetime is temporary. That will help to stabilize and balance your system to be able to prepare a lot more for the inevitable loss. So then when you face the loss, you're able to face it with a sense of serenity and peace and understanding. Will it be painful? Yeah. The kid is still sad when he has to go home or when he has to return the ball, but he's able to handle it a lot better. It's less of a breakdown when he wasn't led to believe the ball belonged to him and he was going to have it forever. So do that. Don't create a false fantasy for yourself. And if you're already heartbroken and you're wanting to move forward, but you are in these extreme thinkings like, I'll never do it again, I never want to love again. Yes, you do. Stop lying. You're just scared. So cut it out with the fear. That's what leads you to the anxious and the avoid and attachment and all this stuff. You're just playing with yourself. Admit, I do want to love again. Admit it. Say that. I would love to love again. It would be good. I'm not guaranteed to have that again, but if I do, this time I'll be prepared to recognize that it's temporary, and I will face the end with serenity, with peace and understanding. That will prepare you. Again, will there be some hurt? Yes, but it's okay. It's okay, because you'll be prepared for it. It will not be as bad this time. Hope this helps.